Did you hear? Stephenie Meyer has recently released this news that she is coming out with 2 new Twilight books. I had deja vu. I am sure I heard about this in 2020, but here we are again, 2 new Twilight books. My ears pricked when I heard this. It has been over 15 years since Twilight came out, close to 20, and it has been almost that long since I read the books. I first became aware of Stephenie Meyer when a teaser trailer premiered in front of the movie I was about to sit and watch with a group of friends for this crazy indie film with, what? Vampires? What? What's going on? An indie film about vampires? Oh, there are these books out there. You should read them. All right, so I gave it a go.
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
And by the time I got halfway through New Moon, I was throwing the book across the room. But that we will come to. First of all, what can we expect from these 2 new books? Stephenie Meyer has said that this will not be a sequel to Midnight Sun, that we will not be seeing another book from Edward's perspective. Stephenie Meyer told the New York Times, "This is it for Edward. Writing from his point of view makes me extra anxious, and the experience of writing this book was not a super pleasant one." She might be referring to the fact that around the time before the book was first supposed to be released, it was leaked and versions of it appeared on the internet. Stephenie Meyer was very upset. She said she would never publish it, as there is footage of her burning The Second Life of Bree Tanner, where she gave the director of Twilight Eclipse a preview of the book. She had her burn it in a garbage can. We are all growing and changing. It is important to let ourselves grow and change. And I don't know that I would throw the New Moon across the room now the same way I did then. But let's go on. What else can we expect from these books? Meyer says she has an outline and a first chapter of the first one done. But she says she's not ready to go there right now. Instead, she wants to do something completely brand new. So it's going to be a while before we see these 2 books. She says that for her, the joy of writing is in creating, and she really wants to create a brand new world with new rules. She says, mythology is my kind of thing. Well, we can see that she does like to play with the basic rules of vampirism. Cue sparkly Edward moment. So it seems for now, fans of the Twilight series are going to have to wait for these 2 new books. But why? Why did I throw New Moon across the room? At the time, I was quite angry at Stephenie Meyer for having the success that she was having. When I read for the maybe 7th time the chiseled chest of Edward, I thought, oh, for goodness sake, and I threw the book. Because I thought, I could do this better, and why am I not a published author? Oh. Comparison and the effects on your mental health and your self-esteem are not good. I think comparison is also why the books are so successful. It is very tempting as a writer to compare myself to the writers of the books I read. I put myself in the same bucket as them. So you don't compare yourself to an elephant or an ant. As Dr. K of Healthy Gamer will say, you compare yourself to people that you see as similar to you. So in some universe, I have decided that writers and authors are similar to me. And so when they have success, I compare myself and I wonder, why are they successful and I'm not? And this is the point of comparisons. This is how we urge ourselves forward to succeed. We think, hey, you know what? I could do that. How come I'm not doing it? What are they doing? What do I need to do differently in order to have that kind of success? Problem is that when you are comparing yourself, you can start to get down on yourself. It can start to feel like everything is against you, they have everything and you have nothing. Or it can start to feel like I'm superior, I'm better than this, and that isn't healthy either. It's the 2 sides of your ego, either self-deprecation and low self-esteem, or egotistical, arrogant, and unteachable. And you don't want to be either of those things. Somewhere in the middle is healthy, and a healthy comparison is good. I suspect that Stephenie Meyer is a pantser, so the fact that she's done outlines and she has done first chapters and she is doing world building and focusing on that is actually very promising, and I think maybe her future books might surpass the quality of her past books. argue whether or not her past books were quality, fine. If you want, let me know in the comments what you think. Have you read the Twilight books? What do you think of them? But in the interim, I would say that every author gets a little bit better. So I mentioned Dr. K. Now, Dr. K has a channel here on YouTube called The Healthy Gamer. One of the things he talks about when you are dealing with comparisons is the importance of self-awareness in the ego's role in comparisons. The thing about comparisons is we don't generally compare everything about another person for ourselves. We tend to nitpick little things. So that writer's success, that author's style, that author's publishing history, that author's whatever, relationships, money. We don't take it all from one source. We look at all these different sources and then we compare ourselves, which is unfair because all these sources are half a dozen or more different people who have different levels of success in different areas, and we are taking their most successful area and comparing it to our own. And we are just one person. I'm going to go on a limb and say most people are not multiple people. Let me know in the comments if that's not true. When I saw this press release, why I had feelings and why I flashed back to throwing this book and why it all still sticks with me and why, although I've read these novels, do I not want to tell you that I read these novels and why it bothers me. When you challenge your comparison to somebody else, because you're not comparing yourself to everything in their life, when you start to look at it and you think, you know what, I wouldn't write a romantic novel about a vampire. That's not something I would write. So why am I comparing myself to her success? Good for her for writing the book. I had fun reading it for the most part, except for the throwing of it. And the movies were good. I'm thrilled that both Kristen and Rob have had ample success in recent years. I thought that the new Batman was fantastic, and I got through most of Spencer. You reflect on why you're comparing yourself to another person. The comparison breaks down and you can realize that it isn't necessarily serving you, and then you can get rid of it. What I mean when I say that this self-comparison is key to why Stephenie Meyer's books are loved so much is that when we look at Bella, she is a blank slate. Bella's lack of self-value and her lack of ego, it makes her very approachable. Yet every character, with the very few exceptions, find her exceptionally valuable. Why? She's not an exceptional student. She's not exceptionally pretty. She's not exceptionally smart. She's not exceptionally talented. She's not exceptional in any way. Yet everybody finds her exceptional, except her. And it is that undefined remarkability that Bella has is so addictive to the reader, because the reader can put themselves in Bella's place and feel it for themselves. And this is why I didn't finish Midnight Sun, and why I didn't finish Life and Death, and why I didn't finish The Second Life of Bree Tanner, because they are not written from Bella's perspective. They don't have the same magic. There are things about Edward that either you identify with or you don't. Whereas with Bella, there is nothing defining her that makes you feel like that's not me. And it is that magic, and then having all these remarkable people who are also interesting, feel passionate and have attention for Bella, that makes us just feel so good. And this is why I couldn't put the book down, despite the fact that we talked about Edward's stupid chiseled chest 7 times. I actually think it's more than that. It's just ridiculous how many times we have to talk about that. Does your character have to be a blank slate in order for your book to be successful? Does your character even need to be likable? Check out this video here if you would like to know that, or if you want to try outlining in a different way like Stephenie Meyer's trying, try out this video here. See you next.